Everybody's always asking what kind of loans we do here at Columbia Green Federal Credit Union.
Let's tell them.
Holiday,
Consolidations,
Quads,
snowmobiles,
boats,
back to school,
lawnmowers,
campers,
motorcycles,
first-time auto buyers,
weddings,
trucks,
heating oil,
RVs,
furniture,
vet bills,
dirt bikes,
vacations,
appliances,
home improvements,
pools,
jet skis,
home equity.
anything at all.
You want it, we got it.
All right, welcome to Hudson Valley 360's The Press Box, presented by Columbia Green Federal Credit Union. This week we have Catskill coach Chris Quinn with us. Thanks for coming in, Coach.
No problem, anytime.
Now, you're a longtime Catskill guy. Played yourself. Your dad was a great player. Your brothers are good players.
Yes, like I said, I'm an 86 alumnus of Catskill. And I always like to joke that with my family, we scored almost 2,000 points.
That's right.
But unfortunately, my brother and my father had most of them.
You were a good player yourself. I remember that.
The good old days.
Yeah.
Now, your dad had, I think he's like ranked 5th or so on Catskill's all-time.
Yeah, I think he had about 1,300 points in his career. And my younger brother, Ian, had about 11. My older brother was somewhere in that 700, 800 range, and I was lower in that 300 range as a point guard.
Yeah, but you were a grinder. I mean, you did all the dirty work, right?
I like to think that I knew what I was doing on the court, and like I said, we had other scores, that's for sure.
Yeah, for sure. But talk to me about some of those great teams that came through the 80s. I know you were around Catskill basketball pretty much your whole life.
Yeah.
But there were some great teams there. I mean, was there anyone in particular of those years where they were making those great runs through the 80s that stood out in your mind as the team?
I'm going to say probably 82 and 84 with my cousin Daryl Jordan, the Swain boys, in 82.
Yeah.
That was a great team. I mean, there was so much excitement. Everybody's going to games. And like I said, that whole early era of the 80s. And then in 84, my brother with Jim Lacey and Eric Swain, Sean Jackson, Andy Jones.
Right.
That crew was special also.
That was a great team. Even the 84-85 team, I remember they went actually pretty far with Andy and Sean Jackson in the backcourt. Were you on that team? Or
I was on that team.
Okay, there you go.
But those, like you said, those guys were definitely the forefront of that team with one of my good friends, Kyle Lyles, who was a junior.
Yes.
He was the workman on the team, but those guys were definitely the stars.
Well, we talk about those early to mid '80s teams, even the latter stages. I mean, with yourself, with Kyle, you had players like Stacey O'Neal. We had Henry Hay. I mean, just some great talent coming through the Catskill system all those years, and then you were a part of that.
It was good. Like you said, my year in '86, we won the Patroon, and like I said, we had some great battles with Hudson. Matter of fact, I think that's the last time we lost our home game winning streak. Hudson beat us on our court.
What a shame.
I think we were like 78. We won 78 in a row, and we had the playoff at Columbia Green before sectional started. And we knocked Hudson off in that game. That was just a great... But at that time, the dominance was kind of at the end. The 88 team had a nice run.
It did.
And then, like you said, over the last several years with Coach Lampman, they're doing a good job. A couple teams in the 90s with Coach Osborne. It was good. It was a good run.
No doubt about it. How long have you been at Catskill coaching-wise?
It's crazy. I actually started coaching in the Catskill. Once I got out of college in 91, I actually helped out Bert Coons and Don Osborne with the varsity.
Right.
And I helped out Don Osborne with the girls' varsity softball team. And then soon afterwards, I went into the State Police Academy and kind of coached on the AAU side for years.
And for those who don't know, you are a retired state trooper.
Yes.
Congratulations on that.
Thank you.
Thank you for your service as well.
And what got you into coaching to begin with? Because you're involved in pretty much everything over in Catskill, from Little League to Youth League. So like
it actually started because my younger brother is 13 years younger than me. So I started relatively when I was 15 years old, like coaching the rec soccer program, and I kind of enjoyed it and just and stayed at it. So it's I enjoy kind of molding or trying to assist kids in getting better. So it's natural. It's fun for me.
Yeah. Giving back is a beautiful thing. Now, let's talk about this year's team. I know you've gotten off to a tough start, 0-4, I believe.
Yes.
But you've been in basically every game.
You know what? This year is it's going to be my most, I think, rewarding year as coaching because, like you said, we're 0-4. We've had the lead in the fourth quarter of 3 games.
Yeah.
and I'm mixing in a lot of young girls. I start a 7th grader and 9th grader with a few seniors. So it's just that blend to get them on the same page. And I think through watching film, we're about to take the next step, and there's really no game that we go into now that I think that we can't win. So it's exciting for me.
Talk to me about some of the returning kids that you have on this year's team. Just want to run them down.
I have, like you said, I have a couple workhorses. I've had Kalik Robinson, who's been with me since she's a freshman.
Yeah, had a big game against Greenville, I think it was 28.
She had 28, but I just asked her to do so much.
Right.
I mean, she's turning that page to be a leader, and like I said, a dominant player on a basketball court, and just growing up to be a great young lady. And I have Lindsay Darling, who, man, she's a workhorse. I asked those guys to play 30 to 32 minutes a game to develop the younger kids. I have Hannah Jones, who's returning. Hannah's stepping up into a leadership role, handling the ball this year. I have Emily Darling, who I've had for several years, who's kind of my three-point assassin. When she's on, she's great. So, but now I'm mixing in the younger girls with them. So it's exciting.
You talk about the younger girls. We have to bring up 7th grader Janae Brantley.
Yes.
She comes from another long line of great athletes in the Brantley family. Talk to us about what she brings to the table and why you would elevate a young lady at that tender age to the varsity.
It was tough for some people to do that, but it was pretty easy for me.
Sure.
She's a talented girl. She understands the game. She puts in her work. I mean, she's a 7th grader, and I can say throughout the year she's probably one of the hardest workers that I have in the off season. So I mean, she deserves to be there, and the older girls have accepted her, which is great.
Sure, that's a beautiful thing to get them all to mesh together, because sometimes there could be that jealousy with the older kids.
They definitely treat her like a little sister. Look out for her.
That's good. That's all about that teamwork. You gotta love it.
And bouncing around the Patroon, you guys recently played Greenville.
Yes.
They have one of the best scorers, 1,000-point scorer in Ava Fitzmaurice. Who are some of the teams that you guys kind of circle on the calendar beginning of the year?
Well, obviously, this year, I try to do my homework. I knew Rensselaer. I thought Rensselaer would win the Patroon this year. And like you said, they have a bunch of young kids who've been playing varsity for 3 years, and they're finally maturing, and they're fast, they're physical, they can finish. Maple Hill is Maple Hill. Seth does a great job. They have a great system over there, so you always know they're going to be there. Right. And obviously Greenville, Ava Fitzmaurice has been hurting us for years, and hurt us the other night again. But you have the other teams, the grinder teams, like with Chatham and Johnny Rollis, and they do a great job. Carroll has a good team. There's just no days off in the Patroon this year, which makes it fun, actually.
No question. I know you guys got a big game coming up against Hudson again. Anytime you play Hudson, you throw the records at the window. Use that old cliche, because it's always going to be a grind when you play against Hudson. They've had a great run themselves. They had a couple of championships the last few years. How do you see that game going? I'll
tell you what, it's going to be a good game because Bryce does a great job with his girls over there, and he's elevated that program. This year, offensively, they're probably taking a little step back, so they come back to the crowd a little bit. But he has them play hard. So
defensively, it's
going to be an interesting game. I'm excited for the game tonight because this is one of the big games that my girls look forward to. And like you said, it's on the big stage for them, so it's exciting. I expect it to be a close, hard-fought game.
You've got a good mix of players between the young and the veteran type players. How good do you think this team can be in the second half of the season, especially once they all start to gel?
I truly think that we've turned the page now. And it's crazy. It's through we watch a lot of film. So over the last week, we've been watching a lot of film, and the girls see the little nuances and the things that I keep telling them about, complaining to them about execution. So when they can see it on the film, we get to practice and they correct it, and I think they're close to having that accomplished. So here on out, I really think we're going to be a tough game for everybody, and I wholeheartedly think that the girls are going to go into every game expecting to win. So it's exciting for us.
Absolutely. I know you have a great rapport with the kids, and you keep in touch with them. You've had some good kids that have graduated that have moved on. We know Shayna Ostrowski is doing well at Columbia Green. We've got Haley Jones, I believe, at Hudson Valley. Talk to us. Yeah, absolutely.
That's the fun part about me. All the girls that I've coached, that I keep in contact with, that go on to play college, and even the girls who don't. One of my first groups that I still keep in contact. I actually named my daughter after 3 of the girls.
Is that right?
So it's great. And like I said, I still keep in contact with them on a basis. But the girls always come back too. When they're home on winter break, they want to come down. They want to help out in the gym, shoot around, and talk to the girls. So that's an exciting thing for me.
No question. I know, again, talking about the rapport you have with the kids, that you're in this for the long haul. You're not just a coach passing through, that you're going to be here for the long haul. What do you see for the future of Catskill basketball?
That's this year, you have to make a tough call every once in a while. And that's when I brought the younger girls up. I have, obviously
Right.
Janae. I have Ashley Shook, who's a freshman.
Sure.
I have another girl, Angie Bones, who's a sophomore. I foresee in a couple years they're going to be the team to beat. And I figure with the older girls, mix them in now to show them how it's done. That this year, obviously, we're playing for this year because I think we're talented enough to win. But I think this is going to be a good stepping stone for a couple years from now, when these girls are really going to step on their own and can probably start being a little more dominating.
No doubt about that.
And now you're retired. This is your first year being retired.
Yes.
Do you have a little more time to get into the coaching side of it?
I do. It just, like you said, when I worked, the hours were tough because I used to go in early in the morning and then, have a little later practice. Now I can do a little more plot and plan, and I can, instead of watching game film late at night, I can do it in the afternoon and practice. But it's good. I enjoy it.
I still can't believe this man's retired. He looks like he just graduated from college over here. Come on now. How do you work that out? But listen, I can't let you go without first asking you about another big game that's coming up. Catskill-Hudson, the boys' game is coming up. It was postponed the other night because of bad weather, and Catskill School District was closed that day. But what do you see in your crystal ball? This is a very, very, very good Catskill team this year. Hudson is Hudson, as always.
Right.
But what do you see in that game? I mean...
You know what? It's interesting because Hudson's had obviously great teams and always has good teams. So, like you said, you can almost throw the records out of the window with it. Catskill team is very good this year. They've gelled, and obviously Doug and Andy do a great job with that team of letting him play, the right mix of letting him play and teaching him the game. And I see what Sean has going over there. He's got some good athletes, good players. But if I had to make a prediction in this game, I'm going to say Catskill by 15 to 18 in this game.
Not even a little closer here.
You know what? I'll be honest with you. That's given Hudson a lot of respect. I just think Catskill that group is this talented this year.
I have to agree with you. Not so much in the prediction, but, and not that I'm saying Catskill can't win that game at all, especially at home. But this is a very special Catskill team. I mean, very well coached. We all know that, but. They have no weaknesses, from what I can see. I know Coach Doug would be sitting here cringing right now. Yeah, we got plenty of weaknesses. I know that, Doug. But, boy, they got size. They can shoot. They play defense. And just a great bunch of kids. They got everything you need, all the ingredients. But let me tell you, do not count out Hudson. As you said, Hudson is Hudson. They have some great young athletes themselves. I mean, we talk about the future, and Hudson has a lot going for it in the future. Some really great kids coming through, but they're living for the here and now. These kids want to win, so I think again, Hudson Catskill, throw the records out the window. It's going to be a great game. It's going to be great. It's going to be exciting. It brings back that air of excitement to the Catskill Hudson rivalry, and like you said, sets up the next meeting at Columbia Green. I truly believe that whoever comes out of this Patron Conference can really go deep into the postseason. Again, I'm sure they'll meet again come postseason time because they're both in the Class B bracket. But it's going to be interesting to see who comes out on top in that one. But they may be the best team win.
Without a doubt, like I said, they're gonna test each other
for sure.
There's no doubt about that.
Definitely. Well, I appreciate you stopping by today and taking the time out with us. And thank you guys for coming in. We'll see you next week on the Press Box, presented by Columbia Green Federal Credit Union.